Здравствуйте, товарищи, and welcome to a video log where I'm going to explain some things, we're going to go over some stuff, and, you know, whatever else I feel is going to be necessary in the time frame that we have. So, first off, I want to say I hope everybody had a wonderful holidays. I hope your Christmas and New Year's were both enjoyable. Ours in our family were not so enjoyable. This has been a holiday marked by death and illness more than I can think of in our family's history. Because literally hours after Christmas was over, our family's dog died. And that was, pretty tough for a lot of us, especially my mother. She was not prepared for that to happen at all, and it hit her pretty hard. I knew that our dog was sick, and that I knew that she wasn't going to be around much longer, so I had, I guess, gone through the internal grieving processes much sooner and whatnot than she had. And so yeah, that was quite an event. And then several days later, our grandmother died, and my dad's mom, which also was another big family event. But I mean, she was pretty old. She was like 92 years old. She had plenty of kids. Who went on to have plenty of grandkids like me. She lived a good life. She lived a happy life, and I don't think any one of us had any regrets, and I don't think she had any regrets either. So I guess, and again, I think she was also getting pretty sick, so I think people were also pretty prepared for that. Excuse me. But still, deaths are never easy. But as well, there was a lot of illness because all the males in my family got sick, including me. So first, my brother gets sick on Christmas or Christmas Eve and Christmas. My dad gets sick a couple later. Then I get sick on New Year's, and that was a pretty big bummer. Mainly because I was out of town partying, and all of a sudden I get sick and I have to cut my trip short, come home, and and it's also the flu, so I'm like throwing up, and I have this terrible fear of throwing up. It's like my number one phobia, and I don't know why. So it's pretty traumatizing. It messes me up really badly. But of course, I'm feeling much better now. Obviously, that's why I'm talking right now. So still not quite at 100%, but we're getting there. We'll be there within the day, hopefully. So, in any case, that was our holidays. I hope yours went a little bit better than ours. So, now that things are returning to normalcy, that gives me the opportunity to return my life to normal. And now that I know the rhythm of my new life, it helps me plan my time much better. And it helps me allocate, or know when I'm going to be allocating time to certain facets of my life. Which, of course, lets me create videos on a much more regular schedule, which is always nice because I like making videos, and I assume if if you're watching this right now, you probably like that content as well. So let me address one thing that people have been asking me a lot, and that is, are you going to be making a New Year's, or not a New Year's, what the hell am I talking about, a Game of the Year video? And the answer is yes. I'm going to do what I did last year because that worked out really well, which is my top 10 games of 2012, and then I'll make another video which is going to be the viewers' top 10 games of 2012, and the first one will be based kind of on my own arbitrary decisions based on how much the game meant to me this year, or how top 10s work. They're virtually all arbitrary, but in any case, I also like to have my Game of the Years after the year's already over, because I think having them before the year is over is kind of stupid. Because the year's not over, there's still games to be played, and also that has given me more time to play games like that I missed when they first came out, and should definitely be in the running, like Borderlands 2 and like Dishonored, and other types of games that I didn't get the opportunity to. But the Steam sale did give me the opportunity to play those games when they came on like 50% off early late last month. So that was pretty exciting. In any case, the way we're going to, I think, do viewer submissions is still undecided. I've got a couple of ideas in mind, but we'll see. I'll have a video in a couple days opening the floor for how we're going to do submissions for the viewer top 10. I might just do, it's one game, it's one viewer, one game, one vote type of deal, and you just got to list one game, and then I tally them all up. But then I'm afraid that it might not reach 10 games, and but we'll see. There's a number of different ways that I could go about it. But in a couple of days, I'll make my decision, and then we'll open up the floor for submissions, and I'll give that about a week, and then I'll tally all the votes, and then we'll have both videos out shortly thereafter. So I'm aiming in a time frame about mid-January to have this all done, and gonna stick to that time frame and work to that, and hopefully something horrible doesn't come up. But knowing my life right now, that just when I think things are settling down, they tend to go crazy again. That's the one thing I've noticed about my life, especially in the last 6 months or so, is that things change rapidly and drastically, and you never expect them to turn out the way that they do, but they do anyway. So we'll have to see. In any case, let's move on. The last thing I want to talk about is another issue that people have been asking me about. It's been bedeviling me for a while of what exactly I'm going to do. And let me preface this by saying, it's been quite interesting having the opportunity to work in the corporate world and work in the business world. And it's given me the opportunity to learn a lot about how things are done, sort of in a business sense, something that you don't necessarily get the opportunity to learn in college unless you're taking a business course. And even then, maybe you don't. But I only took a handful of business courses while I was there, and it definitely didn't compare to the actual experience. And I've been thinking, how am I going to take lessons that I've learned from real life and seeing how things work in this business sense to and apply them to online, and apply them to this channel and to my website. So another part of my job involves me looking through the company's Twitter sort of following and Twitter feed, and seeing what people are saying about the market, or about our products, or about us, and all this type of different stuff. And then I see if there's anything important that needs to be relayed back to my superiors. But it's given me the opportunity to find a lot of cool articles. And I was reading one article, and it was like the top 5 traits that a good businessman has. And most of them I just kind of threw out or threw off or whatever. So they were just generic, like his motivational and that type of stuff. But there were 2 that for some reason I focused on, and one is the ability to get stuff done. And I think I'm generally the kind of guy who gets stuff done, because you don't really get through college unless you can, at the end of the day, get something done. And I wouldn't be in the job that I have now, because it's pretty independent, if I wasn't the kind of person to be able to get stuff done. But another thing is something that I'm extremely poor at and want to get better at, and that is utilizing the resources you have to their best advantage, and maximizing the resources that you have to whatever advantage you can wring out of them. And that's something I'm extremely poor at, because I have a resource in this website that has been idling for quite some time that I want to use. So I've been thinking, what are the best ways to use this website? And one of the ways is that I need people to do things that I just don't have the time to do, like organize and tag videos and put them on the site, and bring videos over from YouTube to whatever, and make sure my content is spread around excuse me, as much as it possibly can be. And that is something that I just can't find the time to do, and I need other people to help me with that. And it's really not enough. I've found, I used to think it was enough to just ask people to do this, but that doesn't always work out. So I'm thinking that I'm going to need at some point to pay people and have paid positions, not necessarily an exorbitant amount of money, but pay people to do things for me, and staff certain aspects of the website. And that leads me to another resource which I have, which is sitting idle, that needs to be maximized, and that is the forums on those websites, which I am thinking of bringing back in some capacity and running them far differently than I did before, because the way I ran them before was essentially, it is my own personal playground where I can do whatever I want. And now the way I want to run them is like a business, I guess you could say, in a way that would maximize satisfaction, user base, and of course profit. And one way I feel I can do this is to offer staff on the moderating forums some sort of paid salary. And with that, that lets me have a certain threshold of who I want and who I don't want, and also hold those people to a certain standard of professionalism, which wasn't necessarily the case before. And of course, that means at some point that if I delegate something to them, there's a greater chance that it'll be done. Not because beforehand these people were lazy or anything else. It's just when somebody volunteers their time to you, and you ask them to do something and they don't do it, well, it's they're just volunteers. They've got other things in their lives. They're you can't really. It's harder, I guess, like I'm saying, to hold them to account if they can't get stuff done. So, this is the type of direction I'm thinking of going in. It's just ideas right now. It's nothing formalized, but that's sort of the next step. Is I'm writing formal documents, and of course I'll need to write contracts if money is going to be exchanging hands. Because now, that I have a job, it's just I've got a much larger pool of resources that I can use, and I can use that to take some of that and put it into the site and say, okay, we're going to do something much cooler with this, and take it in a direction that we were unable to do so before. So, this is what I'm thinking about, but I want to write a formal sort of strategic plan, write sort of, what exactly it is that I want, how we're going to achieve that, and then be able to share that with people that I feel that it should be shared with, and then basically actually have a plan, because that's something that at the end of the day I didn't really have before. It was just kind of, we're going to do whatever and see what happens type of deal. And we all know how that turned out, not necessarily very well. So, feel at this time that, if I'm going to redo it, it needs to be done vastly differently, and it needs to be done in a manner which has a direction and a purpose and a vision and an end goal. So, we'll see. But, nothing is concrete quite yet. So, with that, I think I want to thank you guys for watching, and hopefully you'll stay tuned for the next couple days when we'll open the floor to Game of the Year nominations, and then the next couple days where I'll decide whether or not I actually have the time in my day to budget towards doing this, and if I do, then starting to formulate a concrete plan of action, and then from there, implement those steps. So, with that, you guys, take care.